Hello and welcome to my Friday morning stream. I am starting to play Factorio. Um, I was playing Farthest Frontier, but I didn't really think it worked well as uh, a regular streamed game. Um, there's a lot of in between waiting. I don't know if Factorio will be any different, but uh, hopefully it is. I was thinking on trying something new at least and seeing how it went. So I hope that you enjoy this. It's been a while since I played, so some of this is going to be me trying to remember how to play. So if you're wanting somebody that's extremely skilled at playing Factorio, uh, or any game for that matter, this is probably not the channel for you. But if you're looking to watch somebody who's stumbling along, learning as they go, then this is definitely it. All right, so uh, Factorio's free play. Your task is to launch its rocket into space. Yes. You need to research advanced technologies in order to unlock the rocket silo. Start small, work your way up with automation, and don't forget to protect yourself from the natives. Well, I don't have to worry about the natives. I have enemies off because I am uh, just looking for uh, a simple, basic game. Nothing fancy. Uh, Not quite to creative level, but I don't really like that kind of gameplay. I'm sure there's people that do, but I don't. Right. Tips, introduction. Tips and trips. Okay. Straightforward. Alt mode. Press left alt to toggle detailed info overlay. Alt mode. Okay. Control left click on an entity to take items from it. Control left click while holding an item. Okay. I don't need to worry about that. R is for rotate. Circuit. Straightforward. Okay. Copy paste filter. You can copy paste between entities. Is that just with like Control C and Control P? Doesn't say what the controls are. Oh yeah, I forgot that I could do that. Right. Trains, yes. Alright. Well, first things first. The map that I have chosen is a rail world. The map itself is large, and it has resources spread out a lot. The description on the on the map when you're setting it up is that it's the layout of the resources designed to encourage trains to move things. So there's a lot of resources, but they're all pooled in very few resource nodes. So it's gonna end up having to, I'm gonna have to find ways of getting materials from one place to another, or even a centralized location. Alright, so copy, paste, blueprints, control. I don't remember the controls for this. Blueprint. T to start new research. I don't have any that blueprints. Alright, so E is crafting. So what do I need? I need Alright, I have stone furnace, I have and I have a mining drill. So I guess the first thing that I'm gonna need to do is stone furnace. I need some fuel. Alright, shift click apparently puts it in. And that's that. I'm going to need some way of fueling this. Besides that one chunk of wood. I suppose I can... I don't see any trees in the... Oh, I guess there's trees over here that I could use. It's probably better to use this. As you can see, like, it's... Even just this is a long way away from each other. So as much as they're relatively close, they're not... It's not easy to get to. Let's get rid of these stones. This all says coal nodes. Coal node. Big rock. Wait, can I place this here? I can't, so I have to get rid of... I have to get rid of the big rocks first. As long as there's no big rocks, it's fine, right? Yeah, I have all that. Alright, so... Oh, I need wood for... power poles eventually. So, I think I should hold on to this and use this for this. Okay, so the burner mining drill. I'm just gonna dial this down a bit. Alright, so for right now, I'm just gonna set up a relatively central location for a little factory. Nothing major. I'm not sure whether, because Factorio is a top-down kind of game. I'm not sure the type of base building that I want to be able to do. Obviously, since I'm playing a train world, I want to build a lot of train layouts. Now, that being said, doing like a main bus style base where a everything is piped from a set of conveyors is probably not gonna be ideal. But so I'd like to get into having the trains moving things from location to location. So I might have a more central base versus and like somewhat like a central base for main parts, but having like mini bases all over the map where the resources are, process the resources relatively close to where I need them for basic layouts, for basic recipes, and then expanding on that as I need it. And pulling those resources from there into a central base that makes all the more complex parts and pulling them in with the trains. At least I think that's what I want to be able to do. Alright, so let's do this for now. So I'm going to need some automation on this. So what can I make? I can't make anything because I don't have the resources for this. So let's go with this. How much I'm gonna need of this for the starting point. Or another coffee while I end up waiting to manually collect this stuff. Oh, although, do I need to manually collect it? I don't think I do. I should be able to put this down. Here. I not? Oh, there. All right. This needs to be powered, and it is fuel powered. So I need to put fuel in it. But as long as I put fuel in it, I have access to it. To pulling stuff. Now this, I need fuel. Like that. And that will get me my plate. Now for the automation aspects of it, I'm going to need either two things. One is a burner inserter, which is one that requires fuel in order to operate, or an electric inserter, which will require power to operate. Which I will eventually need to get to anyways, but in order to generate power at this stage until I end up unlocking other means to do so, I would need to build a boiler which will turn fuel into fuel into steam, and I would need to pipe that steam into steam engines, which would then take the steam and turn it into electrical energy. This needs two things. One is it needs fuel, which is straightforward. The other thing it needs is water. And I don't know where. I think so. I've got a water source here, so I can eventually do that. But my only fuel source right now is right here. So I think for right now, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to build a simple setup, because the other thing I need is a lot of resources. So I need pipes for the boiler, and I need iron pipe, gears, and more pipes. To get that, pipes require iron plate, so I'm going to need lots of iron plate for that. Gears also need iron plates, so I'm going to need a lot of iron plates to start with. I'd rather, well, I can't do it manually like I can with a lot of other games, so I'm going to have to I'm gonna need a way of getting it from, I suppose I can just do a simple setup for now. So let's do this. So this should automate steel plate. And at some point in time, I'm going to need copper plate. So I'm gonna do one here, like this. I'm going to do that there, and then that there, like that. for now. So that should give me at least a basic setup, a basic automated process of getting steel plate and that. So it's relatively automated at this point. Everything after that I can do manually. I'd rather not do it manually, but for right now, for the initial setup, I'm gonna only have manual processes available. So, I think that this is probably a good idea to start working with. I'm gonna need some buffers. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this. Yeah, see, I've already got quite a few steel plate for right now, so that's good. What I need to take into consideration is I need to get this. I need to start getting this because fuel is critical at this stage. So I'm going to need at least one of these because I am going to start automating this. So let's start here. Okay, so to have this be self-sufficient, it needs power. All of the machines that are in here, that are in the game, need one of either type of power. It either needs a burnable fuel source, or it needs to be an electric fuel source. So what we're gonna do is to help automate this. I'm gonna do this here. So I've got I'll show you this slowly. I've got this here. So I need to be able to get the resources out. So right now I've got an initial thing of power. So this conveyor is gonna pull stuff out. Now I need to I need a way of powering these on their own. And the best way to do that is this. So what this is going to end up doing, so these are burnable fuel powered devices. So as long as they have a burnable fuel source, they will continue to operate. And what they do is they will take, all they end up doing is they take something from this belt and they put it into here. If they have a fuel source on the belt, they'll fill itself first, and then they'll fill the device. So see here, this is basically powering itself. So it's using fuel to generate, to dig coal, and it's putting it on this belt. This is taking that coal, powering itself, and then powering this. So it's, right now, it's an endless cycle that it's going to end up, each of these is going to end up generating. Now I gotta go in this direction just because this has to feed into this, but this setup here is self-sufficient. So I'm gonna do one more of these. Yeah, because there's 709 coal there. There and there. And then there. Now I need a fuel source. I need to prime the system. So that this generates, because it's got to generate the coal first in order for this to pick up the coal. But now I have a relatively self-sufficient means of getting fuel. And these are relatively automated. So we're good. Now, for right now, since, oh, I should have done it the opposite way. I'm gonna pick this up. I think I did this. Yeah, I did this the wrong way. I'm going to do it this way. There and there. And then there, and there. I'm gonna do this, this, and this, which is gonna do there. The reason I'm doing it this way is because now I can put these on the other side as well. I need to prime the system there, and as long as this one is always working, all of these down here are going to end up being fueled eventually. Again, it's going to end up taking some time for it to generate stuff because it's got to provide for it, for the system itself. So the miners have to be powered, this has to be powered, which is why this is not the ideal setup, because right now you're using fuel in order to do it. Obviously it's going to produce more fuel than it needs, but sooner rather than later we are going, oh see, and this is already out of fuel. Sooner rather than later, I'm going to need to figure out a way of getting electric power running. So I think for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And this. So what this is going to end up doing is giving me a buffer so that I can just pick up like that. Because I need to be able to get power. So I have a boiler and I need to build that, so I need to get this. So for right now, I don't have the luxury of being able to get fuel to these. Now I can run a conveyor from here all the way over to here, but it's not very convenient. So ideally I would want to centralize as much as I can possibly do it. The only problem is that these need fuel. These need fuel. So I need to get away from that as quick as I can. And to do that, I need to be able to generate or use these. These are a lot more efficient as far as pulling things. The only problem is they need a lot of resources to be able to build and need an underlying electric infrastructure available. So for right now, I don't have that luxury. I think I'm gonna do one more of those, and one more of those. Because I'd like to be able to do that. Yeah. So that's self-sufficient, which is good. This is not, but all I need to do is be able to generate as much steel plate as I can at the moment. The more steel plate that I can generate, the more options that I end up having. Because all of this stuff requires steel plate. Alright. How's my copper doing? Because I'm gonna need copper at some point too. I don't need as much copper as I do steel plate at the moment, though. It's going to be critical later, but for right now, it's not that big of a deal. Let's do that for now. Oh. I have mined everything that's here. What's that? I'm gonna mine this manually. There's only 15 available, so not that big of a deal. And that's the other thing is Factorio is kind of the predecessor to Satisfactory. Honestly, I think of Satisfactory as the 3D version of Factorio. So it's a relatively simplified factory building game, but it's still a lot of fun. So the next thing that I need to consider is how do I want to work this? Because I've got two options at the moment. The one is that I need to take the fuel source that I have, which is coal, and take it all the way down here, which is where my water is, in order to combine fuel and water in order to create energy. The other thing is the other option is to take water from here, bring it up to here in order to generate, so have the electrical generation close to where I'm providing where I'm generating the fuel. That seems the ideal situation for right now. But either way, I'm gonna end up experiencing some issues in that I'm going to need lots of iron plate either way. because I either need to put conveyors all the way down to there, or I need to run pipe to there. I need... So one iron plate is one pipe. But I need one iron plate and one gear in order to make a conveyor belt. No, in order to make 2 conveyor belts. And I need 2 iron plates in order to make 1 iron gear. So this is 3 iron plates is 2 transport belts. Which, you know, if I actually read all the information on this screen, I would have ended up getting that answer, because it says right there, total raw 3 iron plates. This is only 1 iron plate, so pipes are cheaper. So it would be better for me to bring water up to where the fuel source is, not the other way around. Yeah. Because to... Alright, so I'm gonna do this here. And that is there, and that is there. So I need that here. Now the cool thing is that unlike Factorio, or Satisfactory, we're playing Factorio. Water pumps don't need power, which is really good, because honestly, if I had to do Satisfactory level stuff here... Oh, I forgot. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Okay, so, I forgot a shortcut that I can do. That saves me some resources and lets me travel the map a lot better. So there are 2 types of pipes, which, you know, now that I've created all of these pipes, so, although I don't know if it saves me as many. So I got 73. Okay, so there's 2 types of pipes. One is the straight pipe, which is straightforward, is that it just runs along here like this. Now, the downside of that is that you can't move around. So that's where, and you can't place anything on there, but that's where these ones come into play. These are underground pipes, so these let you go from here to here. Now I don't know if I don't think that you necessarily use less resources for it, because I mean you need 10 pipes for one of these. But the advantage is that now if I use straight pipe, I can't place anything in between here. Whereas now with these, I can place whatever I want. The other thing is I can move back and forth. So from that perspective, it's much better. But as well, so I can go from there to there. Without any issue. I'm probably going to need more plate again. Ugh. Joys of initial factory building games. Alright, so now I have a water source locally. Alright, so these. So this is a boiler. A boiler requires fuel and water in order to produce steam. So water goes through here, so it goes in and out. So you can actually do several of them in a row and produces steam this way. Now, the cool thing is that like that, and then this. So these are steam engines. So steam engines take steam so you can kind of see this here. So steam can go in and out of this building and it's going to generate electricity. So I'm going to put this here and connect it to this. And because it's got both an in and an out, I can keep placing this. Now, there is a limit. So this produces, you look off, if you look towards the right here, so it consumes burnable fuel. So it ends up needing a certain amount of fuel in order to produce a certain amount of steam. So this output is 60 per second of steam as a maximum. So this is 30 of steam, which means that So this is going to generate 60 per second. This consumes 30 per second. So two of these, or one of these produces enough steam to produce or to power two of those. Now I'm just gonna double check because I also need 60 per second of water. And this can produce up to 1200 per second. So yeah, I think I'm good. So I can produce, or I can use a lot of these. Now, the other thing is that, so we've got the water going through here, we've got the steam going through here. We also need a way of getting the power out. Now, the one thing about Factorio versus Satisfactory is you don't have to run power lines. You just have to put down power poles, which is great. So all I need to do is do this and have and I'm gonna fix this a little bit because so if you look here, the way that this is laid out, so you've got a grid. So like that, the coloration at the bottom of this. So everything within that range is going to get power. So you don't actually have to run lines directly to devices because it can just run. So anything within that uh, area will both uh, obtain or put power into the system and will also take power out, depending on what the building requires. So it's just going to be automatic. The only thing that ends up needing is there's also the distance between. So wires will automatically run from one uh, electrical pole to the next within a certain distance. And if you end up looking at the description on the right hand side where it says wire reach, that's 7.5. So it'll set 7.5. It will reach 7.5 blocks away from it. Um, and you'll see the supply area is 5 by 5, so it will do uh, a block radius of 5 by 5. So anything within that 5 by 5 radius will be powered. So this is relatively self-sufficient. So I'm going to be using 60 per second of water, or no, Yeah, 60 per second of water to generate 60 per second of steam, which is going to power 2 of these, because each of these is 30 per second of steam. So each of them is going to end up generating 900 kilowatts. So I'm going to have 1800 kilowatts with just this one thing. Now, I need fuel. And the simplest way to do these is to have a burner inserter, because the burner inserter will power itself, and then when it runs out, it's there. Now, obviously, it's going to be slightly more efficient to have an electrical one, but for starter game, and I mean even ongoing, it's really not that big of a deal, because you're not going to, the inserter is not going to use that much extra fuel. So shouldn't have to worry too much about that. So now I have electricity at my disposal, which means a lot of this is now redundant or obsolete. So now which I'm just gonna do one other thing. Oh, actually. So now I have a means to automate a lot of this stuff. So I have a way to get lots of fuel. And I have these to be relatively self-sufficient. Oh, I've run out of resources on this block, so I can't. So now I need to shift things over by 1. I'm going to end up keeping this here for now, mostly because it's going to take quite a bit of resource to be able to set up a full automated because in order, most recipes end up feeding into each other. So like this ends up like this, you need a stone furnace, so I can reuse the stone furnaces at some point. But not all recipes end up needing so the miners are one example. So in order to make an electric miner, it's not going to end up using the burner. So all of these, the more that I end up having these, I can't reclaim those, and you can't really destroy them. I mean, you can, but it's a silly process. So you're basically stuck. You're essentially stuck with them. So, and this is the same with this. So, the burner inserter is not like, you don't need it after this point, after a certain point, and you can't feed it into something else. So, I don't want to start generating a ton of resources for the basic setup, because eventually I'm going to end up having buildings that I can no longer do anything with. And I don't want to get to that. It's really annoying. Alright, so now we've got a basic setup. We've got power being generated. We've got a few resources being generated. So I think now is a good time to start automating some stuff. So what I'm going to need is I'm going to need a few of these. I am going to need a few of these because we have power generation now, so I don't need these burner inserters anymore because I can use these. I made one of those. I'm going to leave the steel one as is. I'm going to pull up this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one here. No, apparently I am not. I'm going to put it here. And see, the other advantage to electrical versus these, the burning miners, is the overlap. I'm gonna just put this. I'm gonna put this here. How do I do this? Why are you not doing that? Middle click to clear. So there. Middle click. So this is. I'm gonna show a comparison. So this, you'll notice, has a the mining area is that kind of bluish. That's similar to the electrical in that that's where it's going to end up working from, whereas this does not. So these don't have that, which means that this is only going to mine where it's placed. Which means that this section here, where this conveyor is, where these conveyors are, and where this inserter is not going to end up getting mined. Whereas in this, everywhere there, so not just where the building specifically is going to be mined, which means that I can put it here and it's going to end up mining. Now, cool thing is that electrical ones also don't need to be fueled, which means that I don't actually need to have, as long as these are powered, like this, they will generate just fine. thing is that now I have a ton of fuel that needs to be used up. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up doing this. And we are going to dump all of this fuel into here, which is going to end up putting it on this conveyor belt. So this is a great way to feed your resources back into it. I don't know if there's a way to place it manually on it, but the easiest way is to just do it that way. So now I have a belt which has fuel on it. And what I need to smelt with is fuel and ore. So have I generated enough of this? I don't know. I'm gonna get some more. So I want to be able to generate a lot of iron plate. So in order to do that, I am going to need a bunch of smelters, or stone furnaces. Now, these stone furnaces are going to need a way of getting fuel and ores into it. And I'm going to do this here. So I don't just need to do that, I need to have So I'm going to do this here. And I'm going to put that there. So that should offset that. So now I need so in order to work these, I need two things. So the setup that I've got here, I'm going to use these for generating my plate, my iron plate, and this is what I'm going to use to generate my copper plate. Now, both of these need fuel, which is going to be a problem. But the cool thing about the way that Factorio conveyor belts are designed, which I kind of have mixed feelings over Satisfactory, in that there are two sides to every belt. I need some more iron plate. I've run out of iron plates. Which is why having this available is very useful. So I need this. So because there is two sides to a belt, you can put two different resources on them. And the cool thing about that is that if you have something that requires two resources, you know, like fuel and ore, all you need to do is that. So this is going to feed so this is going to feed like this. So I have this here like this. I have this here like this. Oops. And then all I need to do is, if I had more of these, I'll just pipe this while I wait, because I need a way of getting electricity here. I'll just embrace the chaos for the time being. Oops. Alright, so now we've got that being generated, so hopefully I have enough. So we've got iron ore being fed to one side and coal being fed to the other side, which means that this now has all the resources that it needs to be able to run properly. So now all I need to do is power these, which, as it turns out, all I need is to do this. Like that. And we are good. Perfect. Alright, well, I'm going to let this sit for a little bit. Because I need to take a short break. And I'll let this just run. I'll be back in a bit. Alright, I am back. So, where am I at? I am at... This is not... Why is this not working? Oh... I think this is a flaw in my plan. Because the moment that this fills up, it's not going to feed both of them in. Grr. Alright, well, should be alright. The only thing is I need a means to get stuff back out. So this should work for the time being at any rate. So now I need a way of getting things out of the system. So I've got all this materials being generated, but I don't have a way of actually getting things back out. So now I need to do this. And I think what I'm gonna do is this. Oh, I messed up a little. I messed up. So I need to take this out. Stop that. So, if I want to do this properly, see this, it's been a while since I played, so a lot of this I'm going to end up learning as I'm, like, relearning as I'm going, so I apologize if it seems like I'm contradicting myself a lot. So if I need to have two in, and I need to have two in and one out for each building to be efficient, because then one is if one ends up having one type, the other doesn't, kind of thing. So I'm not gonna have, because before when I was looking at that, but I need to have a way of powering it. So I'm gonna do this like that. Which I think is good. So, right, because then I've got this and this. I've got two in, one out, and then that. Right? That works, right? So I just need to make sure that my split is like that. So this should work. Theoretically. It's fuel 3. Yeah, so now I have this all set up. Now for right now, the one issue that I have is that I'm going to need these to do things manually because I don't want to continue that way, but for right now, that's all I have as an option. I guess for right now, I'll just do that. And then this. Because I'm going to need a lot of this to be able to do this anyways, so not that big of a deal. However, I will need to consider the future. And the future is research. Because as of right now, I can generate a ton of plate and I can generate a ton of copper plate and wire and all the other stuff, but I have to do it manually, and that's annoying, and it's probably not going to be fun to watch either. So I need to be able to research a automation which will allow me to create things from plate that I can't do with the buildings that I've got. But I need to research, and this game with Factorio, how you research is you do it with labs. So labs take science, which is kind of a simplified term, but we're gonna make magic science with magic potions of science. And obviously in later game I can automate the process, but for right now what I need to be able to do is I need to make these, which require copper plate and iron gears. Which I have in abundance at the moment, which is good. So how much for automation? So for for automation, I need to generate. I need 10 of these, and I will be able to do this. So I need 10 of these magic science potions. Because I'm going to take technology, resources that I have, and turn it into science. Which I always get a laugh out of it. So, there. Now we are taking science and turning it into technology. So we're researching it. So with the 10 that we have, we should be able to get automation in place. Which the great thing about automation is that iron gears are something that we need for a lot of recipes, even from the start. So transport belts, they need gears. These guys, the inserters, they need gears. These steam engines, they need gears. The electric miners, they need gears. So there's lots of recipes, even from the start, that need gears. But the only way that we can do that right now is manually. So rather than just generating them manually, we can use the assemblers, which will unlock in right now. So we now have this. Now this is the research tree. There is a lot of things that we can unlock. So all of these are able to be unlocked. And as we get farther and farther, as we unlock more and more, we end up reaching more and more. Now a lot of these I'm not going to end up using. I don't need to unlock them because I don't have enemies enabled, which means that I don't need to unlock this unless I want like a completion standpoint. But honestly, our ultimate goal, and this wins the game, is we need to build a rocket silo, and then from the resulting rocket launch into space, we will win the game. Yeah, we can keep playing after that. But after that point in time, it's more from a what can we do with the game and how we can like max everything out, which we can do, but getting to that point is a long way away because there is a lot of stages and a lot of steps that we end up having to go through to get to there. For right now, the biggest thing that we need to get to is this. We need to be able to get railways enabled because railways are going to open up a lot more possibilities for us. Because the way that I've got or the map that I ended up choosing, it's not an easy map to work with. I mean, I haven't played it before, so that's kind of what I'm trying to challenge myself a little bit. Um, so the resources are far enough away that if I want to centralize to be able to build the resources needed to be able to build that silo, uh, and all the other things that I will need in the meantime, I am going to have to get those resources from the resource nodes. And even if I end up doing like remote factories that generate immediate resources and then pull them in, I'm still going to end up needing to pull them into a central spot that pulls all of those resources together. So rather than doing a main bus system where I just have tons of belts, I'm going to use railways to centralize it, and then I can probably use a main bus system for a central factory setup. Oops, sorry. Trying to drink my coffee. So for right now, I am going to need to. I'm gonna do this for now. I'm gonna leave this to just work away. Obviously, a lot of this stuff not very efficient. So I have now unlocked an assembly machine, and I have unlocked long-handled inserters, which will allow me to do a lot more stuff. One of the With an inserter, it just takes things from point A to point B. The only issue is that this only allows me to use one belt at a time, which means that if I want to use more than 2 resources, I'm going to be in trouble. And for right now, it's not that big of a deal because a lot of the recipes that I have only require an upwards of 2. So, like, this only requires 2 things, this only requires 1 thing. This requires even the higher tier item that we need to produce right now. It only requires 2 items. So for right now, we're perfectly fine, but stuff like this requires 3. So this also requires 3. Um, so we need iron plate, we need iron gears, and we need electronic circuits. Those are 3 items, which means that we're using 1 belt is not going to do it. That's why long-handled inserters are very useful because they allow you to span more than 1 belt. And the advantage to that is I can run another belt along here and ferry it into the building that we've got pretty easily. So we've got an end goal. For right now, the biggest goal that we have is to be able to research more things. So we need to use all of the available resources at our disposal that we have on the map in order to generate science. Sorry about that. My headset was running out of power. I needed to plug it in. The joys of wireless devices. You still need to worry about whether they're charged or not. So for right now, the goal is to get research going and automate that as much as possible. Because making a couple of things here and there is not really that big of a deal, but when you end up having to, like this here, like most of these things, so most of these things don't require a whole lot, but when you end up getting into higher tier items, it's gonna be difficult. I think I want to research this first. Yeah, I want to research this. So, again, most of this is all about automation, trying to get things automated as much as possible. Because right now I need 20, right? But as you get higher and higher tiers, there's more and more like this. This, although I'm not going to unlock it, or even this requires 50, so I have to sit there for, I gotta generate 50 of them. I mean, even this, I'm gonna need 20. I'm gonna need 20 red science, which 1, 2, 3, 4. So I now have to wait for those 20 items to manually generate, which is all well and good, but then you end up getting into 50, you get into 100, you get like 300, 500. Some of them end up requiring a lot, like this. I need 200 each of both the red science and the green science. We haven't unlocked the green science yet, but green science alone, to research and unlock green science, we need 75 red science, which having to do that manually is going to be a pain. So having this automation in place, really beneficial. And the less I have to touch stuff, the better. So for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some simple processes. I'm going to offload some of this here. I'm going to set that up there. And I'm going to do this. Now a lot of this is temporary. I'm just trying to set up a basic design to try and get things as to generate as many resources as I possibly can at this stage. it's gonna be a little bit chaotic at the moment, but a lot of uh, the basic buildings and the basic building blocks of how to expand the infrastructure that you have, it takes a lot of setup to start, and I'd like to automate that as much of the process as quickly as possible. So it's not, well, even I'm going to end up being bothered by it because it's not going to be pretty. Because I'm just trying to get the bare minimum going at this stage. It's not going to look nice. But it will eventually look nice. Now, the one thing that I'm unlocking right now, the logistics, this is a huge deal. Logistics unlocks two things. One is underground belts, and the other thing is splitters and mergers. Um, or well, it's called a splitter, but you can merge and split at the same time. So it either, well, description on it, splitter, splits and or joins transport belt cargo. Um, underground belts. Underground belts. Underground belts are the same concept as these underground pipes, in that instead of having belts all the way along here in places that I can't build things, I can run belts. I can run belts under a building. So that opens up a lot of possibilities. And but besides unlocking that, because logistics just opens up a lot more complex possibilities. It allows for sorting of things. It allows for being able to mess around with the belt layouts, but the ultimate, or for right now, to be able to have all of the basic building blocks to be able to automate stuff, I need to be able to get that. The first thing that I need to get to is to be able to generate transport belts automatically, because transport belts are necessary. I mean, there's a lot of other things that end up being useful in the game, but your basic building block is your belts and inserts. Yay! That's done. So perfect. Now we're gonna unlock this. So I need 30 red science. I only have enough resources for that, which means that I need to start doing that. So I don't think I'm going to do any more research manually. I'm going to have to think about getting this automated quickly. But the first thing that I need to get is I need to get this. So to generate these, I need iron plates and iron gears. I've got gears being made. I've got plates being merged. So now this here allows me to make belts in a very simple way. Okay, there. So I need that and that. Now, for right now, this is going to end up needing to feed into other things, but for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump these into a bucket. Reason being is because I'm going to need these. Now, I don't need a lot of them, so what I'm going to do, and that's one thing here, if I do this, it will only give me it will only generate 2 stacks worth of this product. Because at most, I probably won't need more than 2 stacks. But the other thing is that, as you can see, automated buildings, automating it and getting it doing that is a lot faster. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to need a lot of is we are going to need a lot of inserters. So I don't want to have to do these manually. So I need to be able to automate this. But this is one of those ones that requires 3 different items versus 2. So we are also going to need long 2 sets of belts to be able to feed it. Now, the cool thing is that the resource requirements for this are very similar to this, in that I need iron plate and I need iron gears. But I additionally need an electronic circuit. Well, electronic circuits require iron plate and they also require copper cable. Copper cable is from copper plate. So I am going to not only need to automate copper plate, I am going to need to automate copper cable that will turn it into electronic circuits that will then end up feeding into this. So I don't need to make a new one of these. However, I will need to find a way of making more, or making all the other things that I will need to be able to feed into that. So right now I'm going to do this because I am going to need to I'm going to feed circuits down this. So circuits require, and I'm just going to drop this down temporarily. So circuits will need to go here. So I need iron plate and I need copper cable. I'm going to do this and this, and there, and this. So I'm going to need two things from this. I am going to need copper cable and that, which means that I can't do this. If I want it to be permanent, I need to do this and this. So this needs I need a source for iron plate and I need a source for copper cable. I remember that a lot of this is temporary in that I am only doing this to generate immediate resources. It's kind of a temporary base to be able to automate a lot of the base products. So I'm going to need a lot of inserters. I'm going to need a lot of electric mining drills. I'm going to need a lot of transport belts. I'm going to need a lot of assemblers. And if I have to make those manually, I am going to have a lot of problems. Because it's going to annoy me, and it's going to annoy you, and it's going to annoy everybody in the world. So I'd rather not do that. So the more automation I can do at the start, generate a bunch of resources, build it all up, and then I can start doing a more massive build. Because I'm going to need to. I am probably going to need to actually mine all of this. Because this is a limited resource. Each of these little nodes only has so much. Like this spot here only has 63. This has 88. This has 1. So there's only 1 left here. So once that's gone, it's gone. I think there was probably some stuff here. Now it's gone. The nodes are eventually going to end up drying up. So I'm going to need to be able to place one of these on every single spot eventually. As well, the more things that I end up building, the more issues that I'm going to end up having with the speed at which I'm doing it. Because obviously, if I'm going to be placing down a ton of these, I'm going to need to make a ton of them. And I don't want to have to sit there for like 10 hours AFK making stuff. So the faster I can make stuff, the better. Same as any factory building game. So where was I? I need iron plate and I need copper cable. The iron plate, I need these guys to be engaged, but as of right now, they're not being engaged because these are taking all of the materials that I need to be able to do it. Like even these are not doing. So I'm going to need to place down more iron miners, which I have a few of those, so that's good. And I'm going to need some power. So So all of these will end up doing this. So this node here is, I'm just going to do this manually to get rid of this node. Which is kind of annoying, but... Alright, so... Nope. Did I miss one, or I just wasn't selecting it? Alright, so this should be this here. This node off here, oh, well, it's 8 of them, so I'm just going to do this manually here as well. Get this out of the way. Alright, so this is this, like that. Which is not bad, but I can do better. I can do a lot better. So, a lot of resources are going up here. Oh, hey, it should be enough. Might actually be enough. Nope, it's not going to be enough. So I want to regenerate quite a few resources. So I'm going to need to go a little bit crazy on this. But all I need to do is put from there and there, and then this like this, and then we need some power, which is there and there. And we are generating a lot of ore. Probably do better than that, but right now I think this is a good start, because that should at least build up the system so that it gets far. Oh yeah, so this is actually starting to back up for this, so this is good. So now all I need to do is I need to be able to get coal. Alright, so I need this stuff. Alright, so now we do this. So I'm gonna move this to there, and then I'm gonna put this here. Clear out this. Move this to here. This here. I think this is good. So I need coal. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that, and we're gonna take this to here, and then we're gonna do this and this. Now what this is gonna end up doing is it's gonna split coal between here and here. So some of the coal is gonna go to this line, some of the coal is gonna go all the way up here to there, which is here, which is filling in this. Great. So now we need to automate this. I'm gonna clear out this for now, because I'm not gonna go much farther than this, especially with it being just a temporary setup. Now I need to go from here, so I'm going to need one of these at least, like this, and I am going to need this. Might as well put these in now. I am going to need this, and I'm gonna need to run out of power poles apparently. Alright. Again, a lot of this is temporary until I can get something more permanent in place. So I'd like to get things to a reasonable degree close to what I was going to do, but no, this is not what I want. This is I want to do from here to there. Leave a little bit of room for expansion. And there. So now this should give me copper plate. But I don't need copper plate for this. I need copper cable, which means that I need to put one of these in here. Like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here like this. Now, I need 2 belts from this. So I need to be able to pull from there and there, which is that. So I've got this and this. So that is going to start feeding in this, which is good. So I've got that in place. I need this here. So now I need to fill up this with the copper cable. Now in order to get the copper cable, I'm going to need to pull in inserters, which, you know, don't just insert, they pull resources from one place to another. It doesn't matter what side of a building you pull from or enter into. There's no ports on this. There's no limitation for that. That's a great thing that I like about this, is there's no limit to what you can do because of the inserters being just in and out. So they're the ones that look after how to get it in, get stuff in and out of a building, and it doesn't matter where. So you literally have 3 different insert and like input and output points on every single side. This, I've got it from this side to this side just because it's a lot more convenient, because I can take stuff in here and move stuff out. Now, I don't have to, I'm not restricted to that. So this setup here allows me to pull stuff from this belt and insert it onto this belt. So this inserter is going to take from this belt and it's going to put it into the building. This one is going to take it from the building and put it onto here, which means that I only need to power this now. And everything works. So to do this, I just do this. And how I'm doing that, I don't have to, there's a shortcut to this. I don't have to go into every one. So if I hold down shift and right click, that's as if I am copying this recipe, and if I hold shift and then click it, that will then paste that recipe onto there. Huge time saver. Now I gotta be careful. If I join up this is gonna start feeding into this, which is gonna screw up everything. So I don't want to do that. But again, this is just temporary, so I don't need to worry about that. Now, because inserters don't care about anything in between, like if you look here, on the left-hand side, there's that bar. That's where it's going to be pulling from. It's going to skip over this, which means that I can have this run all the way through here, and it's still going to end up working the way that I intended. So this is going to pull from here and insert there. This is going to pull from here, and it's going to insert into here, which is what I want. So powered, and there we go. So we have generated a bunch of circuits. And we've got this, so we've got more than enough to be able to do the next step that we need, which is to make inserters. So inserters, I am going to set this up here. So inserters requires iron plate, iron gears, and electronic circuits. I need to pull, so this, which apparently I just ran out, and I don't have enough iron plate to do it. So I'm going to pull this. I don't have enough for electronic circuits, which means that I need to get some copper plate from here. Like that. Alright. Do this for now. I'm gonna need more than this, that. I'm gonna need... What? Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let me pick up from stuff again. Well, I wanted to be able to get that automated, but looks like I'm not going to be able to do that for the time being, or at least for today, because I've run out of time. I wanted to start earlier, but, you know, late start to the day. So I will have to call it a day for now. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a good day. Bye.